Hey guys, and welcome to World of Warships with Voulez-Vous. In today's replay we will be featuring the Tier 6 American carrier, the Independence. But before we jump into the game, I want to remind you guys that this is the third week of the Grand Naval Battles event running in the EU server, and I am still continuing my gift contest. I am thinking now that I may actually make a little compilation out of them at the end of the month. So again, a link to a video which explains all the rules and how to get your hands on the diamonds is popping up in the top right corner of the screen right now. Incidentally, this is a video where I managed to get 2 kills and 11 Citadel hits in my Tier 7 Kiev destroyer in just under a minute. So follow the link in the top right corner of the screen right now if you would like to find out how to get your hands on some more diamonds. And now let's get back to the Independence gameplay. Looking at the team list, this is mainly a Tier 5 match. There's only a couple of Tier 6 ships in the game, which already tells me that this is going to be a very easy game for me. Also, I think that you should be researching your carrier opponent, and in this case I'm hovering my mouse over the enemy carrier. So this straight away tells me that the enemy Ryujo will be much more susceptible to my attacks if I decided to attack him than I am to his attacks. My AA defense is raked up all the way to 60 points, which is pretty decent for a ship of this tier. He will have more aircraft than I do, and that is something that you need to remember. When you're going to be strafing or killing the enemy aircraft, there will be more of them than you actually have on an Independence. The other stats are not as important, but those two are kind of giving you an idea of what kind of an enemy you can expect. And also, if you bother to look up the stat numbers on your potential enemies, you will have an idea of just how much of a spaded carrier the enemy is running. And I don't remember the exact number, but I think the survivability number and the aircraft number is pointing at the fact that this Ryujo is completely stocked with the strongest possible aircraft and the better hull. So you're spawning in the southeastern corner of the map straight, and it is a 3-cap domination mode, and I straight away start planning where to move my carrier where I want to send my planes. So I want to move my carrier in the direction where my planes will be coming back from the initial attack, simply because I want to save as much time as possible for them to recycle as quickly as possible so I can use them again. So my plan right now is to send my strike force, my dive bomber and torpedo bomber squadrons to the B cap. I am still unsure of how the enemy team has been composed on each side. So I will decide where I will send them later on, but I know that I want to have my carrier in kind of central position, protected by the islands, so that, like I said, my dive bomber and torpedo bomber squadrons have the shortest possible way to return. So I'm launching my torpedo bombers first. The next one will be the fighters, simply because I plan to torpedo my target and wait for a while until I dive bomb them, so that the fire would actually come after the target repairs. So the torpedo bombers first because I want to attack. Then I would have to wait anyway, so that's why I choose to launch my fighters, and that way get some early spotting. And only after that the dive bombers, and that gives enough separation between the torpedo bombers and dive bombers, so that I won't lose much time. And I see those 2 torpedo bomber squadrons kind of hovering in the area, and it looks like the enemy carrier is trying to stack him because he noticed me and he wants to attack me. So I can't let him do this, and I'm strafing straight away. And unfortunately for me, he managed to kind of divide the squadrons, and I only managed to kill 1. But that's good enough. That just means that the enemy carrier won't be able to have a successful kill strike on me straight away, and I'm quite happy to take some torpedoes. So I managed to get a successful strafe on the dive bombers, and I'm marking the torpedo bombers for my Independence AA guns to, just attack him and destroy the torpedo bombers. I don't mind taking a torpedo right now because I know that it's not going to kill me. I just want to kill all the planes off to make sure that I deplete the reserves of the enemy carrier. So I get a torpedo hit and a dive bomb hit, but I know that I'm gonna survive this, so that's completely fine. And the enemy carrier has lost all 4 of its strike squadrons, which is quite bad for him. But this also means that he will recycle much faster, so they will be taking off pretty soon, and I need to keep this in mind. And this is the moment I notice the enemy destroyer sneaking up on me through that gap between the big islands. And I just ping the map for my team to, well, in hope basically that somebody's going to assist me. I don't have even a single secondary gun on this ship, so I am a sitting duck unless somebody decides to help me. And that's the moment where I change the course of the carrier, but I also start torpedo bombing my first target, and that's the enemy New York. And the fact that I was attacked, I kind of messed up my plan with the separation between the dive bombers and torpedo bombers. So my dive bombers will have to wait for a moment. I'm looking at the in-game clock to make sure that I wait a long enough time for the New York to repair and for the consumable cool-off time actually to stop counting, so that my attack would actually kill the enemy battleship. And now I'm attacking. Now I'm counting on some fire damage, obviously, and some direct alpha damage from the attack. So 4,500 and 3 fires. This basically means that the New York is dead. He won't be able to repair. But this is also the moment I noticed the torpedoes incoming, and they just killed the New York straight away. Which, you know, is a bit unfortunate for me in terms of accumulating an extra damage at the end of the game. But it's well done to the destroyer who killed the New York. I can't really hold a grudge against it. So now I'm being defended by the friendly Cleveland here, and the enemy destroyer is in a lot of trouble. His Yaslav is not going to live that long. He launched torpedoes, but I have a feeling that those torpedoes won't even reach me. His Yaslav's range is only 4 kilometers, if I remember correctly. And as I said before, I had to be mindful of the enemy planes incoming again. And I was only semi-successful in defending my carrier. I repaired a little bit too early, and now I'm on fire, and I have to wait for the next 41 seconds until my repaired consumable comes back online. So I can't launch any planes, but at least I have my fighters in the air, and I managed to strafe the second dive bomber squadron. And now that I know I'm rather safe from enemy attacks again, if the enemy carrier has got any planes left, it's still going to be a while before they attack me. I send my fighters to the center of the map to do some spotting for the team. 7 seconds till the fire is extinguished and I can start launching my strike force again. I already given the orders to my carrier to move in to the central position again. I want to have as short of a reload recycle time as possible. And I'm considering sending my strike force to this New Mexico battleship, but the New York that just next to it, this makes it easy for me to decide. I'm not going to send my planes there. The Cleveland would be quite deadly. Looking at the composition, or rather leftovers, of the enemy torpedo bombers, it tells me that I was successful in basically killing off the enemy carrier strike force, so I know that my team is rather safe. There's still some torpedo bombers and dive bombers incoming, but I will deal with them in a second. Dive bombers incoming, I strafe them before they actually manage to get their load on top of that Congo, which I think is a pretty well done job on my part here. So, my torpedo bombers and my dive bombers are in the region again, central part of the map, and I see that New York here, and I don't hesitate really too long, and I want to attack the New York with my torpedoes first, and my dive bombers are already on their way. But it turns out that the torpedo strike was very successful, and I managed to kill off the New York just with the torpedoes themselves. So I'm left with my dive bombers, and I don't want them to just hang around idle. So I decide to attack the Omaha. Doing a manual drop with American dive bombers usually yields quite good results as long as your aim is true. And let's see just how much damage I'll manage to deal to this Omaha. He is maneuvering, he's trying to make it difficult for me, so I settled on an imperfect drop from at an angle, but I'm rewarded by a fire and a 7,500 drop, which is really good. And now I take stock of the game, and looks like the game is almost over. The enemy team has only 70 tickets left, which means that another kill or two and they will run out of points, and the game will end prematurely. And that's why, knowing that I'm having a pretty decent game, I'm writing in the chat, half jokingly of course, asking for a volunteer who would be willing to actually sacrifice their life on our team to make it possible for us to, or rather me, to farm more damage. It is a joke, obviously, and I'm not interested in the win, but you know, why not? So I see that the Cleveland has moved away from the New Mexico, and the New Mexico automatically becomes my next target. I'm not really worried about the leftovers of fighter planes hovering above the battleship. You know, it's the game is won already. You know, so I really don't mind getting some losing some planes. All I want is just, you know, get some torpedoes on the target. But I see the kamikaze attacking the New Mexico right now, and I know that the game is done. So let's move on to the post-battle stats. And as you can see, I managed to get myself a devastating strike award. 10 torpedoes landed on target with 4 successful bomb hits. I managed to kill 30 enemy planes, which is a pretty decent result for this low tier. Set 4 fires, and the game gave me 223,000 of profit and just over 4,500 of experience. That game gave me the second place in my team with just over 1,500 of base experience, and the total damage dealt came up to 75,000 and change, which is an okay result, but nothing great. But as usual, the games I choose to feature on my channel are not supposed to be monster games. They're just supposed to be educational and give you an idea of how I think when sailing a particular kind of ship. And in this case, I think this was a pretty decent independence game. Profits wise, this game gave me 194,000 of pure profit after all the refits and repairs, which is a pretty decent result for an 8-minute game. And this will be all for the replay, but if you're curious about my consumable upgrade and captain perk choices for this particular carrier, hang around because that's the next thing that's coming. Right guys, so we're back in the port, and I want to start with the consumables I use for this tier 6 carrier, and there's only one to choose, and it's obviously the damage control party, which I decided to use the premium one. If you guys don't want to spend gold on the consumable, there's also an option here which you can use, and you can pay with in-game credits for it, and I hope you all know about this. Moving on to the upgrades, I used the exact same philosophy I used in my Saipan video, and if you haven't seen that video yet, the link to this video should be popping up in the top right corner of the screen right now. So I basically went for the AA autonomy of my carrier so that I would have a peace of mind if somebody will decide to snipe me. So for the first slot I used the AA guns modification 1, which will help me survive the second attack. For the second one, I used the AA Guns Modification 2 to extend the range of my AA defenses. The third one is the Damage Control System Modification 1, and so is the fourth one, Damage Control System Modification 2, basically to keep my ship alive for as long as possible. Moving on to the captain specs I chose for this ship, I decided to go with the same philosophy, so enhance its defenses, and I did so by choosing the basic firing training perk, which adds 10% to the AA efficiency, and also the advanced firing training perk, which adds again another 20% to my AA defense firing range. The other two remaining perks which I chose for this captain is the torpedo armament expertise, which obviously makes it faster for my planes to recycle, and also the torpedo acceleration perk, which makes it even harder for my enemies to avoid my torpedoes. So guys, that will be all for today. I hope you enjoyed watching this video, and if you did, you know what to do with the like button down below. And also hit the subscribe button if you feel like you would like to see more of my materials. Also, if you did like this video, I recommend that you check out my tier 9 Japanese Taiho carrier video in which I managed to interlace quite a lot of sexy cinematics, and the link to this video should be in the top right corner right now. And all I've got to say right now is thanks for watching, and I'll catch you on the open seas.